Hello everybody, it is another day for some Crater Lake. So we are on chapter 6 and it is called Into the Dark, Dark Woods. So here we go. So we've gone from the rogue, so we've gone rogue from the rest of the class, and I'm happy because we can be more stealthy as a small group. But I know it also makes us vulnerable. Where are we going? Catcher says as we jog through the centre away from the dorms. We need to find out more about what's going on, I say. So we're going to go where everything is happening. Into the trees, Mark whoops. But that's where the creepy eyes are, Chet says. Shouldn't we be going the opposite way from there? Plus, it's really late. Maybe we should rest for a while. We can't rest until we know what do. We can't rest until we know what we're dealing with. It might not be safe. I ignore Chet. We move quickly and quietly. Keep a lookout for security cameras. As soon as they realise we're gone, they'll start looking for us. There are definitely cameras in the communal areas. And at the entrance, Adrian says, I think there's one in every corridor. What about outside? I say. I don't think so, but we should probably check. Adrian slows down for a second to adjust the straps on her backpack. It looks stuffed full and really heavy. Do you want me to carry that for you? Max says, jogging alongside her. You think because I'm a girl I can't carry my own backpack? Just trying to help, he says. If you want to help, show me a little respect and don't treat me like a princess. Mac looks a bit hurt. You can treat me like a princess if you like, Big Mac, Catcher says. I am happy for you to carry my bag. Mac just huffs and runs on. Figures, Catcher says. I feel like there's some weird vibe and a whole thing going on I don't know about. But now is not the time to start examining the dynamics between my friends. We reach the side exit, push it open, and slip out into the night. We line up against the wall, hidden in shadows, but knowing we'll have to get across the lawn and obstacle course, and they'll lit up like your teeth at the dentist's. We either go straight across or the long way around, Adrian says. Straight over will take about 2 minutes, the long way at least 30. So we have to go through, fast and silent, on the count of 3. 1, 2, wait, says Chet. I have a stone in my shoe. We watch whilst Chet fiddles with his laces and slowly takes his shoe off, tips it upside down, I don't see a stone fall out, and puts it back on again. Anyone would think that he was stalling. Okay, 1, 2, I'm bracing myself to run, but the bang of a door shutting thuds through the darkness, and we all jump back against the wall, squishing ourselves into the deepest part of the dark. I hear a couple of click-clacks, a sound I'm far too familiar with. I see Hawk walking across a small stretch of the path and onto the lawn. She is still wearing those heels, Catcher says. She isn't walking like the bug eyes walk. There's no uniformity, no sense of her being spaced out. She's walking in a way she usually walks, like she's busy and important and everyone should get out of her way. Can you see her eyes? Adrian whispers. She's too far away. A second later, and she would have caught us running across the grass, Max says. Would have been put on the red for the rest of our lives and lost all our house points. Lucky I had something in my shoe then, Chet says. I have to smile. Hawk disappears into the trees by the river. Is that the way the others went? I say. Yep, says Adrian. Then let's go. We leg it across the lawn to the kind of safety of the trees. There is no wind and no sign of any birds or animals. The only noise is the clinking of the zips on our backpacks. I've never known quiet like it. The moon is bright, and when we reach the woods, we find a person-made path through the undergrowth. It's clear that many pairs of shoes have walked this way. Well, not pairs of shoes on their own, because that would be even more insane. Slow and steady now, I say, and I suggest we avoid the path. Let's try to flank them instead. We move deeper into the trees and work our way uphill, going back to the path only when we have to cross a bridge, to use the bridge to cross the river. Being on the path leaves us feeling exposed, but the further into the trees we go, the less the moonlight penetrates, so we stumble about, trying not to fall into the darkness. After 100 meters or so, I hear distant noises. Not talking though, banging and scraping. What the heck is that? Mac whispers. I wish I brought my night vision goggles. You've got night vision goggles? Cool, I say. Yeah, but not so cool when you don't have them on you. We edge towards the sound. I expect there to be voices and light, but when we reach the source, it's so unexpected that we almost wander right into the middle of it. I'm up front, so I swing my arm out to stop the others from moving any further forward. What the heck? I say. We're standing at the edge of a clearing, next to the river, near the top of the crater. The moonlight allows us a hazy view of what's going on. There are no floodlights or lanterns, but small beams of unnatural light shine across the area, coming from various bits of kit around the clearing. Far away, to our left, there is what looks like a generator, humming loudly and lit up by green lights. Other lights come from tools, chainsaws, and a small crane. When I say small, I mean it's not skyscraper high. It's not even as tall as the trees surrounding us, but it's still big enough to lift a medium-sized tree trunk. I know this because that's exactly what it's doing, lifting a medium-sized tree trunk. Oh yeah, and the whole area is swarming with people, because the only light is green and red. Because the only light is green and red, everyone looks strange and wrong. It's like a zombie disco. Can you see the others? Catcher asks. It's hard to make anyone out, I whisper back. But at least we know what those bug eyes were useful for. I see Atul and Dennis and Krish, Adrian says. But apparently, on top of all her other perfections, she can also basically see in the dark. There's Mr. Tompkins. I see his man bun bobbing up and down by the crane, she says. I think they're all there, I say. But there are loads of adults, definitely more than just Mr. Tompkins and Miss Rani. It's all the Crater Lake people, Chet says. You can see their white polo shirts. They're nice, actually. I wonder if we can get one in the gift shop. I don't think the gift shop's open, mate, I say. They look pretty busy there. It's a hive of activity, I say. But what are they doing? We watch for a minute or two. The bug eyes are working hard and in silence, cutting down trees and moving logs. Some of them are wading in the river, which is wide and deep. They're wearing what looks like wetsuits, which seem a bit excessive because they're hardly in the Arctic Ocean. The water comes up to their chests. Then I see a black mass extending onto the water from the far bank. What is that? I ask, squinting at the dark structure. Though I don't know why, because squinting isn't helping me see it any better. They're building a dam, says Mac. Why would they be building a dam? To hold back the water, of course, says Adrian. Well, that all makes sense then, I say. I'm confused, Chet says. I think we all are, Catcher says, rubbing Chet's arm. So many questions. I back up slightly and drop into a crouch. The others do the same. What are we thinking? Big Mac says, pulling what looks like a handful of berries out of his pocket. Where did you get those? Chet asks. Foraged them on the trail, Mac says, throwing a few into his mouth in the most chilled out way possible. What if they're poisonous? I hate to sound like a reception kid, but we all know how dangerous it is to pick wild berries. It's up there with flying kites near electricity pylons and taking sweets from strangers. They're not, they're fine. You want some? No thanks, I say. I think I've got some jelly beans in my bag. Oh, bad idea, Max says. They're full of refined sugar. You'll get a peak of energy and then crash. You need to get yourself some slow release carbs. All right, Bear Grylls. I have no idea how Mac knows all this stuff, but now's not the time to ask. What do we do now? Catcher says. We have more information, but it feels like we know less than we did before. Hock, I say. Where did she go? I turn to Adrian. Can you see her? Give me a minute to scout around, she says, and disappears into the bushes like a black mamba. I catch Big Mac looking at her like she's his hero. She's back really fast and beckoning us to follow her. She leads us into the trees a little, and then round to the highest part of the clearing next to the river. We move towards the bug eyes again, but this time on our bellies, crawling like commandos. Except it's not that cool, because my elbows are getting scraped and every part of me is itching. We go slowly and flinch at every snapping twig. At last, Adrian stops and points. About 10 meters away, I see Hawk and Digger. They're leaning against what looks like a heater. They're leaning against what looks like a heater, like they're trying to warm themselves up. They're talking loudly, the only voices amongst all those people. We stay still and as quiet as we can and listen. There are 34 workers now, Digger tells her. We're making good progress, but we're going to need additional hands for the second stage. Hawk rubs her hands together. I think to warm them, but it could be like that classic hand rubbing like you see in movies from villains. We'll have help soon. There are 14 children asleep in the centre. Once the Sporlings awaken, we should have 13 new workers and a third hunter to help us snare more hosts. And then we will free the other spores. The hives will grow exceptionally. Digger smiles, which looks all wrong on his big potato face. It's vital that we keep on track. Time is limited. There can be no delays, Hawk says. All potential threats have been dealt with. The centre is in our hands, and there is nobody left to stop us. I don't foresee any obstacles. And yet, the humans can be so unpredictable. We must stay alert and leave nothing to chance. We've waited decades for this opportunity. It might never come again. The rest of their conversation is drowned out by the sound of chainsaw cutting through trunks of trees. Poor trees, says Catcher. I signal to the others that we should retreat. We need to talk. We slide back into the woods and then trek down the crater. I look for some cover so that we can rest without being seen. On the other side of the lake is a wooden pier and a boat shed. The area is deserted, and if a bug eye were to come, we would escape across the lake. Everyone can swim, right? I say. They nod and follow. I open and unlock the door to the boat shed and find it's empty. It's cooler here by the lake, and there's plenty of space for us inside. So finally we stop. I place myself by the door so I'll be able to see anyone coming our way. What the heck was that? Max says. It sounded like Miss Hawk and Digger plan to turn us into all bug-eye workers while we sleep, says Catcher. So that we can build a dam, Chet says, which is somehow going to free the other spores, Adrian says, unzipping her backpack and taking out a bottle of water. And Digger referred to all the bug-eyes as sporlings. I expect the spores are what made them. Bug out, I say. But how will building a dam free the spores? Everyone shrugs. So, things we know. Hawk is bad. Digger is bad. Spores are bad. Oh, the bug-eyes building the dam. They call them workers, says Catcher. And the other type of sporlings they mentioned were called hunters. Like Digger and Miss Hawk, Chet says. And like the wasps, Adrian says. In the documentary, there were two types of wasps, the ones who worked and the ones who built the nest. And the ones who work and build the nests, and the ones who look for prey and attack them with their venom. I swallow a swig of water. And there were the parasitic ones, remember? The ones that use their prey's body to hatch their babies in. The caterpillar, says Chet. Even in the darkness, I can tell that everyone's making an ugh face. I hate to focus on the bad bits, I say, but Digger referred to us all as humans, which implies that he isn't human, and nor is Miss Hock, says Adrian. We take a moment. I think all of us are trying to get our heads around the impossible situation we found ourselves in. So, the question is, if they're not human, then what the heck are they? And that's the end of the chapter. Join me for chapter 7, which is called Spider Monkey. See you soon.